will soon be sworn in as the junior senator from the state of Illinois. Senate Democratic leaders doing an about-face, announcing that they would accept the former Illinois Attorney General as President-elect Barack Obama's Senate replacement and seat him maybe as soon as this week. One less distraction for the president-elect, I suppose, as he takes office in, what, about a week. The Fox Business All-Stars here to weigh in. Nancy, was this just get this craziness under the rug?
Yeah, partly they want the show must go on. Obviously, we have bigger fish to fry with this. But I think the thing is, you know, Roland Burris, I know Roland, and Roland is a good man, and nobody disputed that his reputation was really untarnished in this. It was all about Blagojevich, Neil. And so I think what they finally had to come to realize is that, I mean, this man is eminently qualified for this seat. And if Blagojevich had really appointed one of his cronies or somebody that was in his world, that would have been different.
Well, then right from the get-go, Nancy, they should have been open to him. And yet Harry Reid was dancing around semantics. Here's the thing that got me about this whole thing. They were making a big deal of signing off on this with who signed off on this and when and all that. And yet, when you give $350 billion away, no one has to do anything with that. I mean, it's just kind of weird. You know?
Touche. And then the Supreme Court came in, and, you know, what can they say? It didn't make sense. He's a good man. Let's get him in there and get to work.
You know, John Layfield, I think this is an enormous boon for crazy people to appoint not so crazy people to office, because even if you're the crazy guy appointing them, it doesn't matter. All bets are off.
You know, I feel for President Obama. He seems to be a very thoughtful person, a very intelligent person, but he has got everything in the world thrown at him at once. He's got a Middle East problem with Israel, 2 wars going on, this financial meltdown, and he's got this dog and pony show going on in Congress right now. He has got to look at this and think, what in the world have I gotten myself into?
Well, Howard Rosencrantz, was this
John,
settled?
That's exactly what you want to come into office in. He's Mike D'Antoni coming in to take over the Knicks.
That's exactly right.
You're coming in at the bottom. Things are a horror story. This will cast a pall. There'll be 3 or 6 months where anything he gets wrong, let's just blame it on the prior administration. In terms of the Senate seating this guy, this is great. This is what needed to be done. Every piece of legal casework suggested that even if it was a Carolyn Kennedy, somebody who I don't think should be appointed, the reality is Roland Burris was justified in being seated. He is the junior senator. It never should have been questioned. People who are inherently, or who are basically all lawyers who sit as our politicians in the Senate, for whatever reason, they decided to take a different posture than to look at the law. Yeah. I never understoad it from the first place.
And by the way, Roland Burris
justified in being seated.
I've never heard him say or you know once in any of his press conferences, so he has the head up over Carolyn Kennedy. Jonathan Hoenig, it goes without saying that your city and state are crazy. How do you feel about that?
Well, Neil, we've known that here for quite a long time, but it's been a real disappointment to see it kind of played out on a national stage. You know, Neil, and my leaders, I look to ask, who's a capitalist? Now, Roland Burris, to me, might be a nice fellow. He doesn't really strike me as a capitalist. But when you have, you know, the GOP's, the head of the GOP party setting off on another...
He's a CPA, Jonathan. You know he's a CPA.
But Nancy, he advocates the same notion, but he advocates the same wealth redistribution and self-sacrifice and altruism and all these things that Obama represents. So to me, he's just, you know, the same side of the same coin.
How many socialist CPAs do you know, Jonathan?
Well, even the guy you hate, Nancy, President Bush has an MBA. See, look what that got you. Guys, thank you all very much. Well, Bernie Madoff, I know you're watching. I mean, what else could you be doing checked up in that penthouse? Anyway, I'm begging you, Bernie, I'm begging you, put down that ring ding. My biggest fear, my biggest warning, next for you.